Camera group checking in.
We got you.
We do have our talent here. Hey, did somebody take the cards out of the cameras?
We got the pre in less than a minute. And I see Brett, Tony, and Chris ready to go.
I've still got my card. I've got mine, but there's an issue with it. I can't record on 4. I don't know if that's a big deal. I don't think so.
Okay. Hey, Chris, can you come down a touch? Yeah, that's good.
Going to the pre in 10.
Ready, camera 4.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ready, camera 4.
And go to the free.
Taking 4.
I said free instead of pre. That's
4,
how
you are
cold I am.
live.
We're excited
Fui.
to join us on this beautiful Sunday morning. My name's Tony. I'm part of the creative team here at PC3.
Hey guys, and I'm Brett, and I am one of our student pastors. It is a beautiful Sunday, man. I was just outside a little bit ago. I'm like, this is the warmth I've been waiting for in Wilmington.
I made the classic mistake yesterday of it was beautiful, cool, and windy.
Yeah,
and
perfect conditions for what, Tony?
Sunburn. Like really bad.
So if you have an HD TV, you see how red his neck is
I think
there.
Tony needs Aaron makeup down here.
Good thing, you
Yeah,
know?
I was out. My daughter was at a track meet and then went to a UNCW baseball game with the other daughter.
Yeah, you did more than I did. I
you were in
drove
the
around
car.
a lot yesterday. I was out in the beautiful weather, driving around, running errands, essentially.
Yeah,
is
you
what I was
toured
doing.
Check.
Wilmington,
Can you hear that?
Brunswick County,
Leland,
anywhere,
I did. When your friend has a child who lives in Compass Point, or but your child has a friend in Compass Point, it was a lot of driving, but all good stuff. So speaking of good stuff, there's lots of good stuff happening
so
in Port City.
Easter weekend was amazing, and a lot of stories we've heard about life change that has happened. Maybe it was the first time someone had come in at Port City and just felt like, hey, there's something different here. Heard a great message from Mike about how he can take, Jesus can take the broken pieces of our lives and make them whole, and that nothing is wasted in life.
Could I get an explanation as to why camera 5 is labeled GERB?
Yeah, who did that?
Great weekend, and there were lots of different events. And
It was me.
Jarret.
You did it?
That was me.
I love that.
I am really impressed because I've been here a really long time and I can't do that.
Dude, the summer internship, man. Taught me a lot.
Yeah. Is Katie here?
Jarret is looking at Jeff.
Oh, I thought Andrew was answering that he did it himself, but Jarret did it. It sounded like for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's got to be ready, camera, GERB.
Ready, camera, GERB. Got it.
Is Katie at front of house?
She is, but she's talking to her family.
Okay.
So she's here. She's just.
All right. The camera's not on yet.
Really special about that overflow kind of baptism night. It's not just the night, it's kind of a culmination of walking alongside.
Do you want to grab a battery real quick for it? Can you check with Vaughan if it has one?
Talking about how Christ impacts their life, hearing their story, and kind of the communal aspect of doing life together.
Yeah. And so they meet for like a number of weeks all together, and then it all kind of culminates on that night where they all kind of share their stories and get baptized in one service, which is awesome.
Yeah.
We've also had
student ministries.
a number of students getting baptized, middle schoolers and high schoolers, seeing that is their next step in expressing their
We got it,
faith
thank
in
you.
Christ, and just to hear their stories of transformation.
2 minutes.
Kind of talking about like one in particular, I'm thinking about a high school guy that really just kind of felt lost and lonely, and it was in finding in community at the high school ministry at Ripple Effect. He also found his relationship with Jesus. So it was really, really, really cool. So we love how people are at our church, in our body, are taking steps in their faith, and baptism is a great way to kind of see that tangibly happening.
And I think the common thread throughout all the different stories is that power of community.
Yep.
And we talk a lot about togetherness, and that's not just a buzzword here. Like, we truly want to walk alongside every person that calls Port City home or is just checking us out. And even you guys online, especially you guys online, we want to help you take your next step of faith, whatever that might be. Maybe you have a prayer request. Maybe baptism is your next step. Whatever it might be, fill out that online connect card. You can find that at
1 minute to Jeff.
/online, and one of our connect team members will reach out to you this week.
Yeah, there's one other thing we want to let you guys know about, especially you watching online, an opportunity to maybe connect here at the church. We've been doing these things over the last couple of years called parking lot parties, where we have food and music and games and all kinds of ways to connect and hang out in the parking lot at the Wilmington campus. They've been a lot of fun. Well, in 2 weeks, 2 Sundays from now, on the 28th.
30 seconds.
I got it right. I did it wrong in the 9 o'clock service. We have a parking lot party for Fuse. Fuse is actually taking over, and we're going to use that parking lot party to raise funds to help keep camp affordable. So we'd love to invite you to be a part of that parking lot party where the proceeds are going to go to benefit kids going to camp.
Yeah, so we're excited for what God has.
All right, we go to Jeff in 10.
Sunday morning. Jeff's going to kick it off, and I think he's going to talk
Ready,
about
camera
5,
3.
4, 3,
Ready, clean
2,
feed.
1. And go to Jeff.
Taking clean feed.
3's live. Ready, 1. Take 1.
It's great to see you guys, whether you're in the room or you're watching online.
Okay,
We're
bring the
super
keyer
excited
in,
to be
and let's
together.
show his name.
I remember the first time I walked into this room like 10 or 11 years ago, something like that. And I remember seeing all of these people and thinking, wow, this is really intimidating. So I walked up to the balcony because that seemed like the least intimidating place to be whenever I didn't know anyone. And I remember like sitting up there and
Ready,
looking
2.
down over this like room full of people and thinking, holy cow, this is a lot. And
Take
depending
2.
on what your personality is like, that might do one of 2 things for you. If you're like me, you might think, oh my gosh, there's so many people in here, surely someone will like me and be my friend, right? Or if you're different, you might think, oh my gosh, this is way too many people. How am I ever going to get connected? This is a lot. For some of us, it's a lot just to walk into this room, right? And I know that for me, regardless of which person you are, for me, what made me get connected, what made this room feel like family wasn't...
Oh, Bliss has his little tiny baby Jesus on the keys.
It was meeting people who knew my name, right? Like people who remembered me week after week after week and saw me walk in and say, hey, Jeff, it's good to see you. Come sit with us or come serve with us or come to our small group or whatever it might be. It was people who knew my name. And whenever I walk in this room, it feels like family to me. And I want you to have that same experience. I want you to walk in here and for it to feel like home and for it to feel like family. And
Ready, 1.
we created a space to help that happen. It's called Port City 101.
Take 1.
And it's a space where you can come and learn about what's happening around the church. You can get a tour of the building and like kind of get familiar with all the different spaces. But more than that, you can meet people who are going to remember your name and know who you are week after week after week. So we're kicking that off. Next Sunday will be one of the first ones, and it's happening just before the 11 o'clock service and just before the 9 o'clock service. And if next week doesn't work for you, there's a couple other dates after that as well. So we would really love
let's go ahead and bring the link in.
to help you get connected, whether it's your first time here today or you've been here for a while. We want this place to feel like home to you, and Port City 101 is a great place for that to start. So if you're interested, if that sounds like it's for you, you can head to our webpage, portcity.church/life, and you'll see all the dates and times for Port City 101 on there, including next Sunday and a couple Sundays after that as well. So you don't have to be in here alone. You don't have to walk with Jesus alone. We do it as a church. We do it as a family. And Port City 101 is a great place for you to jump into that together. So we'll look forward to seeing
Ready,
you
2.
there. We're going to jump into worship together. And we're about
guess
to sing
not.
a song
Let's take
called
the keyer out.
Foundation that you might know. And I love this song for a lot of reasons, but
Fake out. Ready, 2.
a section of scripture
Take 2.
that's really, really beautiful. It's Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5-7. It's Jesus' longest recorded teaching that we have. And at the very, very end of it, in Matthew 7, he gives this teaching that we're basically about to sing about. And he says, the man who hears these words of mine and actually acts on them, actually lives them out, will be like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came and the winds blew and it beat against the house, but it didn't fall because its foundation was set upon the rock. And what I love about that song, or that idea, that teaching, is it's an invitation to enter into a way.
Next
of
up
life,
is
right?
Firm
Jesus had
Foundation.
just
Doug's
given this
leading.
long teaching about what it looks
Quinton's
like to
on
live
lead.
out the kingdom
Probably
here
start
on
with the
earth,
keys
to bear
shot like we
witness
did
to what
last
God
time.
is doing. And that's
They're
the
gonna
calling
give
that
us a
he
little
gives
bit
us. So as we
more
sing this
intro
song,
before
I
Doug
think
starts
it's easy to
singing
sing
too,
it
so
thinking
we don't
about
have to
what
jump
Jesus is
right
gonna
to
do
one.
for us or our problems or how he's going to make our life easier. But instead, I want to challenge us to have a different picture in our head. To have
Ready,
a picture
one.
in our head of the life and safety that
Take
Jesus
one.
calls us to is not safety so that we can just hang back here and do our own thing. It's safety so that we can enter into the world and bear witness to the kingdom come, to bear witness to what God is doing. The safety that Jesus offers us is not for us, right? It's so that his people can go in the world and leave it forever changed. So let's stand together.
Ready, four.
And let's worship with that picture in our minds.
Let's
today.
dissolve 4.
All right, go for Firm Foundation.
Ready, 1. Dissolve 1. Ready, 5. Dissolve 5. Ready, 3. Dissolve 3. Ready, 6. Dissolve 6. Ready, 4. Dissolve 4. Ready, 1. Dissolve 1. I'll start taking from here. Ready, 6. Take 6. Ready, 3. Take 3. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 3. Take 3. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 6. Take 6. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 3. Take 3. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 3. Take 3. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 6. Take 6. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 3. Take 3. Ready, 6. Take 6. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 3. Take 3. Ready, 6. Take 6. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 3. Take 3. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 5. Take 5. Ready, 6. Take 6. Ready, 4. Take 4. Ready, 1. Take 1. Ready, 3. Take 3. Ready, 2. Take 2. Ready, 6. And we'll dissolve 6. Ready, 1. Let's do 3. Ready, 3. Dissolve 3.
I'll sing this next part. It's part of your confession to God of his
Ready, 1.
faithfulness to us.
Dissolve 1.
Rain came when blue
Ready, 4.
house was built on
Dissolve 4. Ready, 5. Dissolve 5.
you. I'm gonna make it through.
Ready, 6.
Rain came when
Dissolve 6. Ready, 1. Dissolve 1. Ready, 3. Dissolve 3. Ready, 4. Dissolve 4. Nice shot. Ready 2. Dissolve 2. Ready 5. Dissolve 5. Ready 1. We'll start taking. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 5. Let's do 3 first. Ready 3. Take 3. Now ready 5. Take 5. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 3. Take 3. Hanging on 3 for a bit. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 3. And we'll dissolve. Dissolve 3. Ready 1. Dissolve 1. Ready 4. Let's go to 6. Ready 6. Dissolve 6. Ready 3. Dissolve 3.
Camera's reminder to record if you aren't already.
Ready 5. Dissolve 5. Ready 6. Dissolve 6. Ready 1. Dissolve 1. Ready 4. Dissolve 4. Ready 2. Dissolve 2. Ready 3. Dissolve 3. Ready 6. Dissolve 6. Ready 4. Dissolve 4. Ready 1. We'll start taking. Take 1. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 3. take 3, ready 1, take 1, ready 6, take 6, ready 2, take 2, ready 4, take 4, ready 5, take 5, ready 3, take 3, ready 1, take 1, ready 4, take 4, ready 6, take 6, ready 5, take 5, ready 3, take 3, ready 2, take 2, ready 4, take 4, ready 1, take 1, ready 5, take 5, ready 6, take 6, ready 2, take 2, ready 3, take 3, ready 4, take 4, ready 1, dissolve 1. Uh, 5, can you get me on Madison? Hasn't he got that part? Yep.
With your raw and real prayers. That's what Job did before the Lord. That's what David did before the Lord. He sang songs of desperation toward him.
Ready 6. Dissolve 6.
He'll be with you. And I just think about that when we sing those prayers and when we say those things that might be raw and painful to say,
Ready 1.
God says, I'm here.
Dissolve 1. Ready 5, dissolve 5, ready 3, dissolve 3, ready 6, dissolve 6, ready 5, dissolve 5, ready 1, dissolve 1, ready 4, dissolve 4, ready 2, we'll start taking, take 2, ready 6, take 6, ready 3, take 3, ready 5, take 5, ready 1, take 1, ready 4, take 4, ready 2, take 2, ready 6, take 6, ready 5, take 5, ready 3, take 3, ready 2, take 2, ready 4, ready 4, take 4, ready 3, take 3, ready 1, take 1, ready 5, take 5, ready 2, take 2, ready 6, take 6, ready 4, take 4, ready 1, take 1, ready 3, take 3, ready 5, take 5, ready 2, take 2, ready 4, take 4, ready 1, take 1, ready 6, take 6, ready 3, take 3, ready 2, take 2, ready 4, take 4, ready 1, take 1, ready 5, take 5, ready 3, we'll dissolve 3, ready 1, dissolve 1, ready 4, dissolve 4, ready 6, dissolve 6. Okay.
Stand by for first one. Oh, Janelyn is leading this one. Quentin is on lead.
Ready 3, dissolve 3. Ready 4. Let's do 1. Ready 1, dissolve 1. Ready 4. Ready 4, dissolve 4. Ready 5, dissolve 5. Ready 1, dissolve 1. Ready 6, dissolve 6. Ready 4. Dissolve 4. Ready 3. Dissolve 3. Now we'll start taking. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 5. Dissolve 5. Ready 4. Dissolve 4. Ready 1. Dissolve 1. Ready 3. Dissolve 3. Ready 4. Dissolve 4. Ready 5. We'll start taking. Take 5. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 3. Take 3. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 6. Take 6. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 5. Take 5. Ready 1. Take 1. Ready 4. Take 4. Ready 2. Take 2. Ready 3. And we'll dissolve. Dissolve 3. Ready 5. Dissolve 5. Ready 2. Dissolve 2. Ready 4. Dissolve 4. Ready 1. Dissolve 1. Ready 6. Dissolve 6. Ready 2. Dissolve 2.
God, we thank you that we can sing songs like this.
If you want to set 2 up for giving.
Yep. Ready 6. Dissolve 6. Okay. Thank you. Ready 1.
And I pray, God, that we would continue to recognize that your
Dissolve 1.
here amongst us, interwoven into the fabric.
Let's get 2 in preview.
Of this church and into the lives of your people. And as we prepare our hearts to hear what you have to say through your word, I pray that our response is our total surrender.
I think we're going to go this and then black out.
So God, joyfully we thank you for your presence and your spirit, and we honor you and welcome you in this place.
Let's bring the keyer in.
And all of God's children in the room said, amen. Come on, can we just give some praise to God this morning for his Holy Spirit? Amen, amen. You guys can be seated this morning. We're so thankful that you're here with us and that you joined us in worship. Now we're going to turn our attention towards a time of giving. So as we're preparing our hearts to receive a word that Mike has for us, let us also prepare our hearts to give. There's going to be directions on the screen.
Ready to
do so this morning. So please turn your attention to the screen, and we'll be back in a few seconds.
Dissolve 2. Yeah,
Right,
that looked
roll
okay.
video.
And then we'll get black and preview. All right, 5 and 6, if you guys want to make your moves.
We stand by for Jeff.
So we'll go black. And then 3.
Go for Jeff in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, dissolve to black. Ready 3.
Thank you
Dissolve
guys
3.
for taking the time to give today. We believe in being a
Ready,
generous
1.
church, and that gets shown in a lot of different ways, whether it's being generous with your
And we'll
finances or also
take
being
1.
Generous with your time. We've been talking about this idea of what it looks like to bear witness to the kingdom in our
Ready,
world.
2.
Obviously, a big
Take
part
2.
of the picture
Yep, we
that
can show
Jesus
his name
painted
now.
for his followers is service, right? It's learning
I forgot I
to
wanted to
live
try and
a
bring that
life,
in that dark.
of service, and we believe that's a call for every person who calls themselves a follower of Jesus, regardless of your age or life circumstance or whatever. We're all called to serve, and that's why we've been doing something for the month of April called Be the Church. And really, what it is creating opportunities for children to get to serve alongside of their families, to get to live out the kingdom alongside of their families, not on accident, but on purpose. And that looks, we do that in a couple of different ways. It might be serving here inside the walls of the church. If you notice kids around here serving with their families, that's why. It might be serving with one of our community partners like Vigilant Hope or Rise Up Community Farms that are addressing different issues in our community, going to serve with them as a family and learn about what they're doing. Or it might be taking the initiative as a family. We're trying to empower families to serve in their community, in their spaces with people that they know.
Ready,
Doing
1.
things even as simple as hosting a dinner for
Take
people
1.
in your life. We believe service comes in all shapes and sizes, and really the heart is to help students step into that, right? And be the church now, not wait down the road or wait till they're older or whatever, but to get to serve alongside their families and learn what it looks like to live out the kingdom here and now. So again, that's called Be the Church. It's happening right now. If you're a part of a family in the room with kids, we'd love for you to jump in on that. You can find more information on it. On the
Yep,
same
we
website
can
we were
show the
talking
link.
about earlier, you can kind of see everything that's going on that one page. It's portcity.church /life. And again, it's for the whole month of April. One opportunity, another opportunity that we have to be a generous church is right around the corner too. Summer's kind of barreling towards us. And with summer comes one of our favorite parts of the year. It's called Fuse Camp. And yes, woo! All right. Fuse Camp is our student ministry
Ready,
summer
2.
camp for middle school and high school students. We do it
Take
every
2.
summer. 1 week for middle school and 1 week for high school. And we always want to make Fuse Camp as accessible as possible, right? We want to get as many families or as many kids to Fuse Camp as we can, because we really believe in what happens there. And that obviously comes with its own sets of challenges, right? One of the main ones being keeping costs low. We really do want it to be accessible. We want to keep costs as low as we can, which is a challenge in today's world. So we're trying to get creative about the different ways that we do that. And we have a parking lot party around the corner. It's on April 28th from 5 to 7 p.m. And if you've ever been to a parking lot party, they're so much fun. They're a blast. It's really a time to hang out as a church and share a meal together and just have fun together, play games together. It really, really is an awesome, awesome space that we would love to see you at. And this particular one on April
Katie, can you push in a little bit?
Our student ministry team and our students and volunteers are going to be taking over. We're going to be doing a Fuse takeover of the parking lot party, which if you've ever...
Jarret, you want to try going to Katie right before he turns?
Yeah.
I had to hang on him kind of awkwardly long.
No, you're
because
good.
I didn't want to make a jump for you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Whenever you're ready. Ready 3. Ready 3. Taking 3. 3, you're live online. 2, you're live in the room. Ready, clean feed.
Yes.
Taking clean feed.
Good catch.
3, you're clear.
Okay, so yep. Thank
2,
you,
you're
Stefan.
live in the room.
So we'll get 6 in preview.
We'd love for you to be there just to enjoy our church family.
I got 4 in preview online.
5 to 7 p.m. Views takeover parking lot party. It's going to be a blast. I'll look forward to seeing you guys there. Mike is going to be out in a second to continue our series called Origins. But before he
Say
comes
hi for
out,
meet and greet.
I want to give an opportunity to connect together as a church. So take the next couple of minutes, stand up, say hey to people next to you.
Ready,
Maybe tell them
6.
what you're most excited about for this summer, and then Mike will be out after that.
All right, ready, camera
And go to meet and
4.
greet.
Taking camera 4. I went a little bit too late.
We don't want it to feel like that at all. We want you to get connected too. So if you're sitting
Or you're
in the
live
room
online.
with someone, we'd encourage you to take a few moments, maybe answer that same question of what are you looking forward to this summer. But if
And we'll
you're
get
not,
5 in
we'd invite you
preview.
to take a couple
That shot does look cool.
let them know you're thinking about them, and take a second to connect with them. And
All right,
invite you
ready,
out
clean
to
feed.
continue our series Origins.
Taking clean feed. 4, you're clear.
30 seconds.
Thank you, Chris. I hope you have a great week.
Thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
Chris. Good stuff.
Ready, 5. Dissolve 5. Okay, 6. You can go ahead and get focused again. Ready, 3. Oh, so this is the bump coming up, so we need to preview black.
Go to the bump in 10 seconds. Go to bump in 3, 2, 1.
Dissolve the
Go
black.
bump.
And roll the bump.
Stand by for Mike.
3 in preview, yeah.
All right, we go to Mike in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go to Mike.
Dissolve to 3. Ready, 1.
Good morning.
Take 1.
How's everybody doing? Y'all sound great. It's great to see you guys. My recurring nightmare, welcome to everyone.
Yep,
who's
ready,
out
2.
there. Leland, my recurring nightmare is that
Take
I finish
2.
and I can't ever get anybody's attention.
Okay, we can show his name.
I just have to go back there and leave. So thanks for not making that happen today. We're continuing this series we began last week called Origins, and it really is to try to enter in to the origin of the church. We sing songs, and you're probably familiar with the language. It talks about the Holy Spirit fall on us, or inviting the Spirit to come and dwell with us, or you've probably heard language around the baptism of the Holy Spirit. This comes certainly from the teaching of Jesus, but it also comes to fruition in the book of Acts. And part of what I want for us to do is to understand, to kind of enter into the chaos of what unfolded in those first 4 decades as those earliest followers of Jesus were trying to understand, what does it mean to follow the teachings of Jesus? What were the implications of the resurrection? And they were so different. You can feel this in the way the book of Acts unfolds for
Ready,
us.
1.
Obviously, we're going to have just a few weeks. But I want for us to enter into it in that way. If you were here last week,
Take 1.
We tried to give some idea of what we're being asked to do in terms
Katie,
of
can you push it in, maybe even lose the top of the screen a little bit? Because he's got that big map coming up, timeline thing. Yeah.
He came by and said he's going to do the heaven and earth thing first.
Oh, okay.
How contrasting it was to the way of the world, particularly the way of a violent world that was in the grips of an empire. And so the way we talked about this last week, if
Ready, 3.
Is that
Take
in
3.
the beginning was the heavens and the earth. There was this overlap, not only overlap, but it was just one space where God and humans would dwell. Heaven and earth were together. And then what happens after sin, we looked at this last week, is that there was this separation. And the space where humans dwelt and the space where God was, where his will was done, were separate. And this led to death. This led to the loss of the life that we have been intended and created to live. And so the solution throughout the Old Covenant, you'll see this, is they built a tabernacle, then eventually they built a temple. And this temple was where the earliest Hebrews would go and they would offer sacrifices. And in their sacrifice, God would show up and he would descend with a fire, right? And then this is what happens. And this is what you read in the first
Okay. You need a battery or you have one?
Of your Bibles. I need one. And something happens in the New
Yep.
Covenant. We'll look at this in just a moment. But what happened in the cross and the resurrection is that heaven actually came to earth. And it created this overlapping space. And what you'll see is that God was then having a new temple. He said the temple is not made of bricks and mortar, but rather the temple is now made up of people, of human beings, where you and I would be the temple of God. And in that, God's Spirit, his fire, would come to dwell in us. And then we would bear witness to that place. It would be this overlapping space where God's will is done on earth as it is in heaven. And this happens when you and I, when our lives are given to this. And we say, Lord, can my head, my heart, my hands, the place where I've been given dominion, can that be a place of this overlap where your Spirit reigns, where your will is done in my internal world and in my world, just as you would have it to be. And then out of that, it becomes this corporate collective thing where we then take that reality and it bears witness on the world around us. That's what I want to explore today. And we're going to go way back. If you have your Bibles, we're going to Acts chapter 2. We're talking about this idea of what happens when Spirit comes and tongues and language and all these other kind of cool, interesting things. And what I want you to see, we put this timeline, I've put this out. There was actually a mistake in it last week, so I'll correct it today.
Ready, 5.
But this is essentially the first
Take 5-ish
years, 38 years from the gospel, from the resurrection and crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. And historians...
Yeah, thank you, Stevens. Once it talks about the building of the churches and stuff, if you can pull out maybe a little bit more and get the red stuff on top.
33, Jesus is crucified, he's resurrected. Out of this,
yeah, we don't need the church parts on top, though. The kind of peach-colored stuff. Yep.
And out of that, a Pharisee is going to persecute the church. He's been sent on a mission from the Jewish religious leaders. He is going to persecute these followers of the way.
Ready, 1.
Encounters Christ.
Ooh, one's a tad soft. Ready, 2. Take 2.
Paul, he writes most of what's in our New Testament. What Acts is, it has
Ready, 6.
changes, but it's primarily these 3
Take 6.
journeys of Paul as he travels around the Middle East. He travels around Turkey and up into Syria and up into Greece and then as far as Rome, planting or starting these movements of Jesus followers. And you see them listed somewhere in the early 40s. You have the church in Rome,
3.
the church in Galatia,
Take 3.
the church in Philippi and Corinne and Thessalonica. These are all cities where these congregations, these assemblies of followers of Jesus would be. And what I want you to see from this is that the Bible wasn't written like they're sitting down and typing it out on their computers, but rather it was a collection. It was a collection of writings. And so Paul is in Antioch.
Ready, 6.
In Galatia has a question, or he hears
Take
something
6.
in Galatia, so he writes a letter back to them. Or he's in Ephesus, and he hears of something happened in Corinth. They write him a letter, and he sends a letter back to them. Or he's in Corinth, and he's writing a letter back to Thessalonica. He's in Ephesus, writing to Corinth. And then he goes to prison, and writes these letters from prisons to the other churches, and he writes a letter to Timothy. And what you also have up here is you have Luke and Acts, which were constructed as probably one volume, maybe a couple years apart, a year apart, something like that. But Luke and Acts were written in about 65 or 66, as was the Gospel of Mark, as was the Gospel of Matthew, somewhere around there. Peter wrote his letters, and then, of course, the letters that aren't mentioned in there are Hebrews, the writings of John, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John, the Gospel of John, and Revelation, nor is James
Ready,
in there. These were all probably
ready, 1,
after
maybe. Nope.
the timeline ends, somewhere in the 70s, early 70s, and then Revelation comes along probably around 95. And that's how the timeline kind of unfolds. So we have
Ready, 1.
essentially all the writings of the New
Take
Testament
1.
within about 70 years of Jesus' life and ministry on this earth. So this is, by historical timelines, this is extraordinarily tight window of time. Extraordinarily tight window of time. Probably unique among most ancient literature if you really do the research and research it out. But the reason I want you to see this,
Ready, 3.
I want us to enter into the chaos. What they were trying to do is not to say, here's what you need to believe about Jesus. They were trying to understand the implications of the resurrection on how they would live as followers of the Messiah, what the resurrection would mean to them. And so what Jesus tells them, and this is the world in which they enter. This is the world in which this sort of breaks into. The question I want to ask is, Jesus tells them, I want you to go to Jerusalem and wait, and there you're going to receive power. Now, if you live under the rule of the Romans' thumb, right? You're
Ready, two.
living underneath Rome.
Take two.
And this God, who is now rose from the dead, tells you to go back to Jerusalem and wait because you're about to receive power. What do you expect is going to happen? You were getting fired up because you're about to get power. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a day or a week where your boss was terrible or things that didn't work well for you or whatever it might be, and someone says to you, hey, I'm going to give you some power. What do you immediately think? I'm going to take that power and use it to do something about what's happened to me. Right? How would you use power? Like, what is this power for? Right? What we find is this power that's given to us is not power over people, and it's not power to get our way. Instead of it's a kind of power for people. It's a kind of power that transcends borders and boundaries.
Take six.
To create a different experience in the world on the way to creating a different kind of world. Like, that's what's about to unfold in the Gospels. And we're going to get really, really detailed. And if I'm going to have fun, so it really doesn't matter if you follow along or not, but I hope that you will, and I hope it will prove to be fun for you as well. Because this is what's at stake. We know how the world works. We know how to network. We know how to...
That's maybe a bit too much honesty there.
...partnerships to get what it is that we need or what we want. We know that if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, sort of favor for favor. We know how to use language and words. We know how to say enough to attract people's attention, but yet to withhold, not to commit to anything. Like, we're always protecting and hedging bets. We live in a world that's...
Hey, Katie, can I get a shot from 3 really quick? I know you don't have much room, but that's fine.
Asking of us to imagine something, to see something beyond the world in which we live in.
Thank you.
And 5, can you pull out some?
All right, ready, camera 3.
Just in case he shoots to that question.
Camera 3.
Yep.
3, you're live online. 6, you're live in the room.
Yeah, this is the question. Ready, 5.
Ready, clean feed. Taking clean feed.
Take 5.
They were all gathered around Jesus, and they asked him, Lord,
I'm off 3, so you're good whenever.
Okay.
is it now when you're going to restore the kingdom to Israel? What do you think they're asking?
Ready, 3.
Right,
Take 3.
under Rome's thumb long enough. Is now the time where we're going to get to whoop Rome? You see, this whole thing enters in, and there's sort of 2 dreams or 2 realities for all the people living at that time. There were those who benefit from Rome, right? Those who like, hey, Rome works, so do I. The economy's good in Rome, it's good for me. If Rome's in charge, that's good for me. I live in sort of compliance with the empire.
Ready, 2.
This is what made the tax collectors
Take 2.
so hated in the first century. Why? Because tax collectors belonged to the Jewish people. They belonged to the oppressed people. And what they did is they sold themselves out to go into work for Rome and to collect these oppressive taxes and then withhold a little bit from themselves. So they benefited from Rome. So there are those who benefit from Rome. We all know what this is like, right? But they benefit from Rome, and as Rome goes, so go I. I'll just kind of turn my blind eye to all the crucifixions, but hey, if Rome does well, so do I. And then there are those who suffer underneath Rome. And what do you think they want? When they finally hear the promise of freedom, they don't just want the right to, self-determination. They want to punish those.
Ready, 1.
From it.
Take 1.
This is how the world works. And what I want to suggest to you, and I want to introduce something that you just have to, if you're going to understand the narrative of the scriptures, if you're going to understand, I think, what God is actually calling his church to do, you have to understand the idea of empire, that the world works or operates by empire. And by empire, I mean, you can think Babylon and Greece and Persia, you can think all those, Rome, but you got to think bigger than that. You got to just consider that empire, what I mean by empire, is I'm using it to describe the systems where power is the currency to govern. Any system. It can be a governmental system, it can be a business system, it can be a monetary system, it can be your relationships. Just because you're bigger and stronger than the people around you, you get your way. All those things are rooted in the empire. And what happens in our world is divided up. You realize the reason we have borders and boundaries in our world. Those borders and boundaries are largely defined by those who won wars.
Ready, 2. Take 2.
Is the nature of the world in which we live. And we see this even now. We see this even now. What's been happening in Israel and Gaza. Yesterday, Iran and Israel, and we all have imagery of what this is, what unfolds. These are very, very tenuous. You can just feel how fragile things feel when this starts to happen. And what you realize is that the world is divided up according to the power that is exerted by various empires. And it's held in the current state
Ready,
of tension
six.
power between these entities and their adversaries, between the enemies. And this is how the world
Ready, six.
works.
Take 6.
I'm not trying to make any judgments. I'm just observing. We recognize that the peace that we experience in the world largely comes at the threat of force or the fear of someone using the threat of force. And so we just do what's expected. And this is the world in which Jesus is talking to. And I think it's the world in which we find ourselves in today. So what does empire have to do with the origin story of the church? I'm glad you asked. Because it actually begins. And what you're going to, this is really important to connect the dot in Acts chapter 2. Because in Acts chapter 2, right, you have this miracle of these tongues of fire. You have the miracle of speaking in tongues. And you have all these things happen in Acts chapter 2 at the origin of the church. And you have to go all the way back to the first empire, the Babylonian Empire. And again, there's scholars agree, disagree. But it was founded essentially by Noah's great-grandson, a guy named Nimrod. And Nimrod was known as a mighty warrior. Some people believe that his name means, it's actually, I think, what Elmer Fudd calls Bugs Bunny, a Nimrod, right? It's where it comes from, a mighty warrior.
Ready, 2.
To make fun of him.
Take
But
2.
That's just free. But Nimrod was a mighty hunter. Some people believe that his name literally means rebel or tyrant. And one thing is for sure, Nimrod's might, he knew how to use it, and people seem to respond to it. That's what we gather from what we know about this. And along the way, he started these cities in what is now modern-day Iraq, Syria, between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. Do you remember like second grade world geography or third grade? I remember drawing this out. We drew out the Tigris and the Euphrates river. And like then you see this is where all this stuff happens, is right there. And this is where Babylon began. And this is on the plains of Shinar, which is one of the cities that he founded is Babylon. And so evidently, Babylon became the center of the world. And this is how it's described in Genesis chapter 11,
Ready, 3.
starting in verse 1. And it says,
Take 3.
Now the world had what?
Ready, 5.
One language.
Take 5.
Let's see if we can do this. Stopped. The world had one language and had common speech. And as the people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar, and they settled there. And they said to each other, "Come and let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly." And they used bricks instead of stone, and they used tar and mortar. Now what you're doing is you're getting a gigantic
Ready, 2.
sociological,
Take 2.
anthropology, whatever you get the idea, anthropology. You get these big lessons all in one sentence. And this is a really important thing because this group, they didn't just use stones and stack them. They found a way to manufacture bricks so they could make them the same dimensions. And they could produce as many as they wanted because they could do them all. This is like what's happening. And they can build this. And what do?
Ready, 3.
They said, "Come and let
Take
us
3.
make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used bricks. They said, "Come and let us build a city, build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens." Why? So we can make a name for ourselves. See if this will get this to work again. It's not. So what is happening here? They're building a tower to the heavens. Why?
Ready, 1.
So they can
Take
make a
1.
name for themselves. This is almost precisely a redo of what happened in the garden. The appeal of the serpent was, "You will be like God." And now it's the whole of humanity as one people saying, "We can be like God. Let us ascend to the heavens. Let us make a name for ourselves. We're going to move up into God's space. We're going to come to God's space on our terms and say, God, we're not going to bear your name. We're going to have our own." Do you see the rebellion in this? That's the picture. So then he says,
Ready, 5.
we'll scatter. And then in chapter, verse 5, but the Lord came down to see the city
Take
and
5.
the tower they were building. And the Lord said, if as one people, speaking the same language, they have begun to do this, there is nothing that will be impossible to them. So God says, here's what I'm going to do. What does he do? I'm going to go down, and we're going to make them also don't understand. So we're going to confuse their language. What an odd thing to do. He makes it so that now they can't say, hey, I said get a brick. I don't understand what you're saying. Like, can you see how this happens? This happens every day in the workplace, right? And we use the same language. Like, so this gets just evaporated. All their cooperative efforts
Ready
just
2.
evaporated.
Take 2.
And they end up warring with each other and jockeying and rivaling. And then they disperse and they scatter and create borders and boundaries and tribes. And they identify as those. That's what happens. So this is all Genesis chapter 11. And I began to ask myself, I was like, what's up with this? Like, what does language have to do with this? Like, why does this matter to us? And what's happening in the origin of the church?
Take 6.
So it sounds like that humans are trying to unify themselves, which is a good thing, except they're trying to unify themselves and make a name for themselves. Now, how well do you think this goes? All right, put two people in a room and ask them to make a name for themselves. Whose name's going to be first? We can't even agree on that. This is what begins to unfold, and this rivalry begins. And what God does, he confuses their language, and I thought about this because what we tend to believe, especially in the modern West, and I love words. I don't love to read. I like to read. I read out of necessity, but I enjoy words. I enjoy trying to understand concepts by putting language to them. But what I've learned and what I've come to believe is that language is not first and foremost designed for communication. That's how most of us in the West treat it. We value clarity and conciseness. You just say what you need to say as quickly, unless you're an attorney, and then you don't value that. You value something else. I'm just kidding. But sorry.
Ready
I'm
2.
really about this. So
Take 2.
Edit a lot instead of having in my head. And some things just slip through the filter. So, but we value the capacity to be clear and concise in what we say. And what language, first and foremost, is it's expressive. Right? Language is intended to be something that gives voice or gives words to our voice. It brings something out of us. How did God create? What did he use to create? Words, language. Let there be light. When he assigns, he calls something into being. He assigns Adam this same task when he gives him the call to name the animals. He's saying, call these things into being. Your words are going to have the creative capacity to do something, to bring something in to bear. And when from the beginning God created with his word.
Ready
his
1.
word was an expression of his essence. It was out of his
Take
heart
1.
that would emerge beauty and dignity and fullness and freedom and wholeness. And so what happens when we are separated from that, our words take on a different ideal. And it's not communication. It's actually something else. Our words tend to be governed by a kind of fear that forces us to prove ourselves. I mean, think about what were they doing when they built their tower? Let us make a name for ourselves. Let us prove that we are able to do this. And this becomes a lot of the language that we use. We use language to prove our worth, to prove our accomplishments, to document all of these things. We quickly learn to use language to conceal things we don't want other people to know. We can say things in just a way that make you think something about me that may or may not be true, but that hides the things I don't want you to know. We learn that language is used for manipulation. Anybody ever done that before?
Ready 6.
My hair looks so terrible today.
Take 6.
Right? What did you do? You manipulated people around you and say, no, it doesn't. It's the best haircut I've ever seen. We use language to manipulate. We use language to threaten. And at some point, this cycle requires action, and those actions lead to conflict, and that conflict tends to lead to violence. And such is the world that we have created. That's what I want for us to get. We severely particularly because we live in a culture, at least historically, that has seemed to have some understanding of values, which is, I guess, even questionable, but you get the idea. But we severely underestimate how inclined we are to the ways of the world. The one thing I want to mention about empire is that we live under the curse of the empire, and part of that curse is that our hope is actually in the empire. We benefit.
Ready
from
to.
it.
Take 2.
Again, no judgments, no condemnation, just observations. We, though, have to reckon with how we're going to live and what has been done in this. We overestimate how righteous our reasoning is, and therein we often misjudge how different our judgments are from what God has said or would do or how he is. And so there's a giant gap. And so what Acts is about, what this Holy Spirit is closing that gap with a kind of intimacy. There's a commentator, his name is Dr. Willie James Jennings, and he wrote a commentary on the book of Acts. It's beautifully done. But he says that Acts is a story of a revolution. And he calls it a revolution of intimacy, where we would once again dwell with God as his people in the way that he's intended for us to. And so what has to happen to us is we have to be
Maybe not yet.
out from where we are. You remember, I like to believe that most people remember my messages for weeks and weeks and months, but I recognize that's not true. But about 5 or 6 weeks ago, I did a series called I Am, and we talked about Jesus and these statements
Ready, 1.
he made, and one of them was he says, I am the good shepherd. Anybody remember this?
Take 1.
I drew the cool sheep. See, you remember this. And so he says, I am the good shepherd, and what he is doing is he is leading those sheep out of pens. And then he says very clearly next, he says, but there are other sheep from other pens that I've got to lead out too, because what we think is that Jesus is leading you out of your pen, but into my pen. And he's not, he's leading us all out of our pens, all out of these identities, these boundaries and borders that we use to tribe up. And he's moving us out of them and into a place where there is one flock and one shepherd. There's a new kind of unity. A new kind of unity. And so this is what is happening in the book of Acts. And so this shows up in Acts chapter 2, starting...
Ready, 5. Take 5.
1. When the day of Pentecost came, and this is important, my pen's working again. When Pentecost came, they were all together in one place, and so the disciples have gone to Jerusalem, and they're waiting for this power to come. And this is the account of the power coming on the day of Pentecost. So Pentecost is important for a couple reasons. One is it was a pilgrimage holiday, so all the people, all the Jews in those regions come
Ready, 6.
From days and days
Take
and
6.
days and days away to journey to Jerusalem, to the temple, to make their sacrifices for the summer offering. That's what Pentecost was. It was actually called Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, because you marked off 7 weeks after the Passover, actually 7 weeks plus a day after Passover. It's been the 50th day after Passover would have been the Feast of Shavuot, or the celebration of Shavuot, which was also known as Pentecost, because in the Greek, Pentecost means 50. That's why. So the same thing. Pentecost is Shavuot. They're bringing this. And what's interesting is the modern, after maybe 150 AD, 200 AD,
Ready, 1.
After the temple was destroyed,
Take 1.
The Jewish community used Shavuot to mark the beginning or the giving of...
Do you think I should take 3 or just let you just keep it there in case you need to get to it real quick?
Well, you could take 3 and I'll just come back to it.
Okay, cool. Katie, whenever you're ready, if you could zoom out and get a little move, I'll take you.
He's about to go to the
Ready,
iPad
5.
though.
Take 5.
All right, ready, 3 online, taking 3. 3 are live online, 5 are live in the room.
Ready, 3. Take 3.
Clean feed, taking clean feed. 3, you are live everywhere.
Ready, 1. Take 1.
Right? Depending on how you grew up, what kind of tradition you've been in. I've been in all
I don't think we can afford to have her pull out, because he was circling the stuff behind him on 5, so we really need that as a go-to shot.
Yeah, I've just been trying to take it here and there. It wasn't a perfect time to take it, so my bad.
And it wasn't for the sake of evidence or doing
That's
something
right.
magical or doing
It's
something
never the
cool,
same
so
way.
that you know the Holy Spirit. It was used to bring something that God intended to bring and was redeeming from what happened we just read about.
Ready,
in
3,
Genesis chapter
take 3.
11. Now there were those who were staying in Jerusalem. They were God-fearing Jews because they had come to celebrate Shabbat. They were there from every nation under the heaven. And when they heard this sound, so something was shaken or something happened that caused them to drew attention to this. And when they heard the sound, a crowd came to gather in bewilderment. Why? Because everyone heard their own language being spoken. Do you see what's happening? So at Babel, in the Tower of Babylon,
Ready, 6.
what did God do?
Take 6.
To prevent this unity that would eventually oppress and create rivalry. He confused their language. So to bring about a new kind of unity, what is he doing? Do you see what he's doing? He's unifying it. He's redeeming this. He's bringing this back together. So they begin to hear this.
Ready, 3, take 3.
Aren't these all Galileans who are speaking? And what they mean is like Galilean is not known for the most sophisticated people. Like these guys are speaking with this can't be because they're smart. They're from Galilee. So what gives? How is it that each of us hears in our native language? And then he just lists off the various regions.
Ready,
Parthians,
5.
Medes, and Elamites,
Take
and
5.
goes on. And he says both Jews and converts to Judaism in verse 11. Cretans
Ready,
and
3.
Arabs, we have
Take
to
3.
hear them declaring the wonders of God in our own tongues.
He paraphrased that whole top section. I thought I'd go in there for a little bit longer.
What you'll find throughout the book of Acts is that speaking in tongues was not so much given as an evidence of something.
Ready, 1.
Parts of that, but as
Take
a
1.
connection of something, an intimacy, a revolution of intimacy. For a Jewish Pharisee or a Jewish fisherman to speak and to communicate, to express the reality of the gospel to an Italian centurion. And they would cross language to do this. They would cross these borders to do this. We'll look at that in a couple of weeks. And perplexed, they ask one another,
Ready,
what
3, take 3.
does this mean? Well, I'm glad you asked. What does this mean? What Jesus has invited us to do.
Can we get him a tight shot?
Yep, ready, 1.
He's given us. He tells us at the very beginning of this in Acts chapter 1, verse
Take
8,
1.
when he says, when you go to Jerusalem and you wait, right? He says, I will give you power.
Oh.
I will give you a kind of power. You'll receive power when the Holy Spirit comes
Ready,
upon you.
3.
And out of this
Ready,
power,
5.
what will happen?
No, ready, 3, take 3.
You will be my witnesses. Will be my witnesses. Now, if you grew up in the church, you have a picture of this that is largely incorrect. We think that witnessing is trying to convince people that our way is correct. And that's the role of a prosecutor, not a witness. We are witnesses. In fact, I don't really use the term witness anymore because witness feels like something that you're supposed to do. What I'm trying to get into my vernacular, what I'm trying to learn how to say repeatedly is that we bear witness. Because to witness feels like something that you do or I do, but to bear witness is something that just comes out of us. There's some reality, some authenticity, some truth out of my life that just rests on or bears
Ready, 2.
on the interactions that I have.
Take 2.
That bears on the relationships, that bears on the concerns, that bears on the attitudes, that bears on the world around me. And so I want to bear witness of what it is that God is doing, of what it is that he is asking, of what it is that he has done.
Ready,
his
5.
rule and his reign in my life, in our lives, and therein.
Take
we
5.
together, this overlapping space, come to bear witness on the world. We do this by faith, by adhering to what he has asked us to do. Right? We learn how to walk in this way, and we're free from having to prove everything. But instead, the reality is born out in the way that we live. And we live in such a way that tells a much different story
Ready,
than
1.
what much of the world experiences.
Take 1.
It is our lives and our lives together that become an expression of this overlapping space where we have become the temple. And God's will is done here on earth just as it is in heaven. Just for a moment. Right? You felt this. You felt that like right here, right now in this moment. And it's like putting your fist in water. As soon as you move it, it goes right back to where it was. Right? That's what the world is. We're going to have to just keep doing
Ready
this.
two.
In these little pockets, we'll
Take
find
two.
that together this reality happens. Somehow we sense His Spirit. We were the place where He dwelled, and what He longed for and intended was actually experienced in this. And that comes to bear on the world around us. That's what it's talking about. Right? That our witness, and this is what I'll make really clear, your witness, my witness, our bearing witness is not just your personal experience. This is not about you and your truth. We belong to a cloud of witnesses. That's the language of the Scriptures. A cloud of witnesses that testify, that bear witness to what God has done and what God is doing and what He longs to do in the future. And we have been given the power to do this. Right? We ask the same question.
Ready, six.
Hey, Jesus, now
Take
is the time
six.
you're going to get me back in charge and let's do what we knew should have been done all along? He's like, no, I'm doing something completely new. And I think we so underestimate how new what it is that God is doing. We want for Him to kind of give us the power of the empire to make things the way that they ought to be. And instead, God is creating a whole new kind of humanity and a whole new kind of unity. Willie James Jenkins says this.
Ready, three.
As the disciples gather,
Take three.
they will not be turned out to the world as representatives of the empire, but those who will announce a revolution of the intimate, God calling to the world. God calling to the world. God bringing His redemption.
Ready, one.
His return, His renewal to all things.
I'm going to let people write that more.
Everywhere His people.
Sorry, we'll hang here for a bit.
In this overlapping space. We have the power to live in a revolutionary intimacy with God and with one another. As we receive and we receive,
Okay, ready, one.
bear witness of
Take
that
one.
reality. That our lives sort of create, they cause something to happen in this world. And this is part of, is beginning to inform my understanding of death and separation and grief, because I believe that somehow what happens, that our lives are lived in a way that brings an effect on the world in which we live. And in fact, in some mysterious way, will actually create new realities of which God has intended that will carry on into the age to come. That's actually what begins to unfold from here. That there's no more, and until He returns, but there's in this age to come where there will be no more disillusionment or no more disappointment or no more war. There'll be no more grief-stricken tears where your heart just gets ripped out because what's happened. There'll be no more death.
Take two.
Where there will only be only life and the fullness of life, because everything will now be filled in every way. That's the picture I have in my head. This will be fully, this will be finally, and this will be forever. But it is not yet so. So until then, something is required from us. And I know, like, I want us so badly to get this, because we are going to recoil and try to go, what does the Bible tell me to do about this? And you're going to get it, you're going to reduce it right back down to me and what I need. And God is saying, no, there's a new unity. This world needs these pockets of places where God's will is done here on earth. When I watched the news yesterday, I watched these drones and these bombs, and you watch what's happening in Gaza, and you watch
Ready, one.
Israel, and your heart just
Take one.
Just breaks. But do you think it happens around the corner from us when kids hit one another and they shoot one another? And the violence that just continues to emerge because of this empire. And what Jesus has invited us into is a whole new way to live. It's a whole new way to live. To be baptized in the Spirit is to be immersed in His presence and let your relationship to Him, your reconciled relationship to the Creator, define you. And then all the implications of that as we learn how to do this together. The power is the power to transgress borders and boundaries, to move into places. What you'll see in the book of Acts is this transgresses the borders of ethnicities, of cultures, of language, and even the law. as we learn how to live in this new way of the Spirit. This is not willy-nilly. There's an allegiance to this, and there's an order to this. Make no mistake. But it is fundamentally about you and I learning how to live in this overlapping space and then trusting that out of that space, right, we come to bear, to influence, to affect the world around us. Like salt and light and yeast. These are
Ready
exactly
to?
the metaphors that Jesus used about how his people would be.
Take 2.
So here's 3 simple steps for how you can make this happen tomorrow, right? No, that's not how it works. That's what we all want, though. You thought, you're like, dude, he's going to tell me. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. This is a new reality. It doesn't work the way the old one does. Have I said that clearly enough?
Glad I went to 2 right there. Oh my gosh.
I'm telling you, it can make all the difference.
All right, so we got the 2 questions
This is
yet.
what I'm trying to give my life to. What you're going to think. Well, let me just, here's the 2 questions I want to end with, and we got to stop.
Ready 3.
Number 1.
Ready 5. Take
How will
5.
your life bear on the world around you? And you're like, I'm awesome. Just ask someone who's around you a lot.
Ready,
If you
3.
You might find a different answer.
That's
But
okay,
here's
it came back.
This is what I don't want you to do, because this is what you're going to do. Oh, I need to do better.
Ready 3.
No, you don't. No, you don't. This isn't about you doing better or not doing better. Because if you do better at making your own name great and building a tower to Babel, it is zero help in what God is actually trying to do. You don't need to do better. But I do want you to answer the question. What is your witness on the world? What do you bear witness to? Is there a hope and a peace and a pervasive joy? Or is there growing cynicism and distrust and disregard for other people? Like how does your life bear witness? And the second question is this. Can you, right? Can you reimagine how God's Spirit
Ready 3.
and a
Take
new
3.
unity might reshape your answer? What you and I need is not to try to figure out how to do something different. We need to reimagine how God's Spirit in us, the power of his Spirit in us, and a vision for a new unity pushes us into this place where we learn to live more consistently in this overlapping space, and then we come to bear witness on the world around us.
All right, so just coming out to close. Ready
Man,
1.
that's exciting. But this is the work.
Take 1.
You and I, we have to say, God, can you help us to see? Encounter you and help us to see the implications of the resurrection on your life and my life, to bring return to what God intends, to fill everything in every way. Begins in your heart, in your mind, in your body, in my heart, in my mind. But make no mistake about it, it pulls us into a kind of unity that when the world sees, they'll say, there must be a Savior. That's what Jesus prayed.
Ready 2. Take
Father,
2.
would you help us to be an answer to that prayer, to reimagine what your presence means in our lives.
Ready 1. Okay, you want to hang on him?
The life, the breath. Would we be able to reimagine
Ready 6.
what kind of
Take 6.
unity would transcend borders and ethnicities and reach into places that desperately need a heaven to enter in.
Let me Terry tighter.
Father, would you use us?
Yeah, you can stay on, Jeff.
Of the reality
Corinne's got both of them.
for the world. And I pray all this in your
Ready,
Son,
2.
Jesus is our King. Amen.
Take 2.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks,
Before you guys
thanks,
go, I
thanks.
wanted to give you 3 simple steps to make this a no. Dude, thank you so much. Thanks. What a beautiful picture of what the church has been and can be moving forward. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Ready, one.
Just a couple
Take
of
one.
reminders. April 28th, 5 to 7 p.m. is our Feast parking lot party. We would love to see you there. Port City 101 kicks off next week, so don't miss out on that. Great to see you guys. If we can help you anyway or pray with you.
Okay, let's bring the keyer in. Oh, and I guess that's going to be shift Sunday.
All right, and dismiss. Walk out of here. Woo! Thank you, guys.
Good job, Camera Russ.
Happy
Good
Sunday.
job, everybody.
Have a great week. Thank y'all for coming.